Hi guys, how are you this lovely day? Go ahead and start this week's episode. All right, friends, welcome back to another episode. I'm going to be talking about choosing your path today. Also, we are still in the middle of No Yell November and just wondering how is it going? How is No Yell, no Yell November going for you? This is what we've been working on all month long in Mama's Members. I wrote No Yelling Mama's workbook to really help you to fine tune and get to the root of yelling and to not just, what I don't want to happen is for you to just push this feeling down, the anger, the rage, or whatever, and like, I'm not going to yell, I'm not going to yell, and then it's all going to explode out. So that is not what I want to teach. I want you to teach you how to feel frustrated without reacting to it. And eventually you can get to a place where you don't even have the desire to yell anymore. So it is a really fun place to be. And this is what we've been working on all month long in Mama's Members. We've been doing bonus calls and all those fun things. So not every mom struggles with yelling. What? Right? I think I met a cute mom. She's like, wait, do you really teach people to not yell at their kids? I do. But some people are like, actually, I don't even yell at my kids anymore, or I never yelled at my kids. But there's always something we could be doing a little bit better, right? And so some mamas are noticing that they may not be yelling, and their kids will say, it sounds like you're still yelling, and it may be the tone that they are using. A little bit forceful or a little bit intense. And so some mamas are working on not yelling, and some mamas are maybe now working on their tone and the way that they're saying things. I am actually working on not being critical. And it's been so interesting of wanting to say something that is critical, or probably my children will perceive it as being rude or hurtful or something like that, of not saying it and noticing it popping up in other places. So maybe you're like, I'm not yelling at my kids, but all of a sudden I feel like yelling at my husband or the mailman. Like, who does he think he is, right? Or just like now placing it somewhere else. And we don't want to do that. And I noticed my wanting to be critical was starting to pop up in other places where I thought this person is doing a really bad job and somebody should probably say something about it, or just wanting to be critical in other different areas that I was experiencing it. So some mamas are also working on that. But as we do these things, we learn and grow line upon line, right? So maybe this year you are focusing on not yelling, and next year you'll progress to maybe the tone of your voice. And maybe it's not being critical, or maybe you're sarcastic or something like that. We're just always trying to get a little bit better. And why do we always want to be trying to be getting a little bit better? Isn't that an interesting thing? Like, why can't we ever just be? And there is a time and a place for that, right? But overall, like, we're trying to progress, we're trying to grow, but why? I believe it's because we are eternal beings. C.S. Lewis says the best in his book, Mere Christianity. Now, there are a good many things which not would be worth bothering about if I were going to live only 70 years, but which I had better bother about very seriously if I am going to live forever. Perhaps my bad temper or my jealousy are gradually getting worse, so gradually that the increase in 70 years will not be very noticeable. But it might be absolute hell in 1,000,000 years. In fact, if Christianity is true, hell is the precisely correct technical term for what it would be. I love that definition of why it is we are trying to always get a little bit better. Because you're right, if I live another 40 years, right, and I'm just a little bit grumpy, and I get a little bit grumpier throughout the years. When I'm 80, they're like, well, grandma was a little bit grumpy, but we loved her, right? But if I continue down that path and just keep getting a little bit more grumpy, when I am 1,000,000 years old in the eternities, it will be an absolute hell. Some of you know I opened up a little bit about this in, I believe, episode 115, the reasons why I should have never homeschooled, but I had really struggled with depression. I struggled with it so intensely that I was actually hospitalized for 2 times for suicide attempts. I felt so sorry for myself and my lot in my life. I remember one of the times I was struggling really bad, and I was in a very dark place of where I was considering suicide again, and how freeing it would be if I could just die and I could finally feel peace and finally feel happiness. I then happened to read in the Book of Mormon, in Mormon chapter 9, verse 14. And in that it says, "He that is happy shall be happy still, and he that is unhappy shall be unhappy still." I read that and was livid. You have got to be kidding me. What I had been through was not because I had made all these terrible choices and now I'm suffering the consequences of them. What I was going through is because of the actions of other people. And how unfair is it that because of my unhappiness that I'm going to have to take it into the next life? Like, it was not my fault. And I was very, very angry about that. This is one of the scriptures that helped me as I started down the road or the path to start finding happiness. Because if I was going to be responsible for my own happiness, I better figure it out now, because I will be that same person after. And if I'm just a little bit grumpier, a little bit more depressed, over time, what's going to happen, like C.S. Lewis told us, it's going to be absolute hell, right? So the reason I focus so much on helping you learn skills that will help you find your happiness or find peace during this life is because it affects us in the next life to come. Because I believe we are eternal beings. We do not magically start liking our kids when we die. We don't automatically feel joy in the next life. So many mamas believe that if their children would just behave the way they wanted them to, then they wouldn't have to yell and be angry. Other mamas believe that if their kids wouldn't make messes, then they could finally feel peace. Maybe you believe that if your kids would just do their stinking schoolwork, then you wouldn't need to be so mean. But that's not the way it works. You can feel peace whether or not your kids are loud or quiet. Whether or not schoolwork is done or not done, you can be patient when teaching your children. You can be patient when things don't go the way you had hoped. We are the same person in this life as we are in the next. So I hope that this No Yell November helps you to bring realization of what path you are on and bring awareness if that is the path you do want to be on. Do you want to be on a path that will be absolute hell? Or do you want to be on a path where you can feel joy? Obviously, I don't think anybody's like, ooh, I'd like the path that leads to misery, right? But sometimes we don't realize that that is the path we are on. So I want to invite you to look at your actions and feelings and look down the road and see where that path is going to take you. Is it the path you want to be on? If you are snippy and snarky and moody and angry, is that the path you want to be on because it's only going to get worse? Or do you want to be on a path where you're trying to be patient, you're trying to be understanding, you're trying to feel loved, all those types of things? I want you to know that no matter what you have been through or what you are currently going through, you get to choose what path you take. Sometimes you may feel like you're on that path but crawling, or it's really hard, but I want to challenge you to stay on the path. If you don't like where the path leads you, I invite you to try another path. Dearest friends, if you are needing extra help, I always love to help mamas get on the path where they want to be, so you can learn skills and be on paths that brings joy, or even learning the skills to be on the path to eventually feel it more naturally or more consistently. As always, I love you, friends, and I will be talking to you next week. Have a great day.